So with Bitcoin breaking down now below some key support levels, what's next? This is definitely not how we expected it to play out. With quantitative easing coming, the Fed cutting rates, and a deal done in China, all just feels like the market should be going up. But the question then is, why aren't they? I got you covered. I'm going to break down exactly what I think is going on in the market, and more importantly, the key charts that we need to look at to understand, is the market done? Was the bull market a flash in the pan at 125K, or is there more to come? As always, don't forget, smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high, and let's get into it. As I'm sure you have been watching the charts exactly the same as I have, with Bitcoin breaking down below as $106,000, many people are now calling that the market is over. This simply wasn't how it was meant to be. So what is happening? Why is the market selling off? And I guess the question then is, are we going back up? Was the bull market over, and what should we look forward to? Well, I'm going to show you straight off the bat a really important chart that I think is worth looking at right now, and it's all to do with the number of days spent at a loss. So take a look at the chart. What it's saying is here is the number of days that people that were holding Bitcoin have actually spent with that value underwater. And you can see here that when we go back in 2016, we also look at the 2018 and 2021 post bull market moves, you see these big spikes in numbers of days that basically people bought the top and are holding. You do not see that right now. What is this an indication of? Well, it's an indication that lots of people are still in profit when it comes to the price of Bitcoin. People bought early, and we also know that institutions have been buying significantly. Retail still waiting really to get in the market. They're all currently trading stocks with Apple and Microsoft and everyone else, more on that in just a minute. But for me, this is the first catalyst, or the first indication that, well, there is more room to grow in this market. Doesn't mean that it's going to be guaranteed. It does mean, though, that most people potentially are going to take some profits. Why is this important? Well, think about it. This ultimately then just allows new market, new liquidity, which is exactly what we need. And when we talk about the Federal Reserve, that's what they're trying to do. Really interesting thing from Altcoin Daily here. It says, if BlackRock, Wall Street, Michael Saylor and US government, other nation states, millionaires, billionaires, and 235 companies are all buying Bitcoin, why is the price going down? Very interesting. Drop your comments down below. So when we think about some of the things that have happened over the course of the last 24 hours or even the last 36 hours, quantitative easing coming in, federal rates being cut down, and that deal that Trump did with President Xi, albeit I don't think it was as good as the markets were hoping. I think we were hoping for a complete trade deal that, well, was off the scale. What we got, we're going to delay it for 24 hours, for a year. We're not going to screw each other. We're just going to wait. Fundamentally, though, there is a deal being done. Didn't quite push the markets as much. So then we need to look at kind of other metrics and other important statements to think about. Look at this. Bearish sentiment, unrealized loss at 107,000 is only currently equivalent to about 1.3% of Bitcoin's market cap. What does this mean? Well, the reality here is, generally speaking, in bear markets that people call, we see anything from 5 to 50%. We're nowhere near it. So this means that people are still holding on to their coins, as I just talked about earlier on in the video. The fact is, people bought early on this. This means we can go down a little bit further. We could even retest 100,000 and people will still be in a profit. Very important. And actually, the playbook feels the same. The gold top of 2011 at 1900 did then fall down. Bitcoin moving on the back of that. But fast forward 2020, the same happened. Gold peaking around $2,000 and then Bitcoin taking off. What have we recently seen? All-time highs on gold, people queuing up in the street to buy it. Now gold starting to push down. Is that the next catalyst we're going to see for Bitcoin starting to push up? Now, the obvious is, where is all the money? If all of this good news is coming in the market, Bitcoin feels like the hot commodity, there simply isn't the money in. Well, I said at the start of the video, everyone's buying freaking Apple stock and everyone's buying the Magnificent Seven. Think of this. The top 10 US stocks right now are a record high of 41.4% of the S&P 500 in October 2025. What does this mean? The top 10 US stocks make up nearly 50% of the entire S&P 500. The fact of the matter, when you look a little bit deeper, there is significant losses in some of those S&P 500. This means that capital is FOMO buying the top on stocks. Now, that doesn't mean we can't come down, but does mean that that's where the money is. That money, in my opinion, will rotate into risk on assets. You only have to look at this chart from Coinbase. Following October's liquidation event, smart money flows, basically these are investment funds, market makers, venture capitalists, as well as consistently high-performing traders. Well, what are they doing? They are re-risking. They are putting capital to work. They're absolutely going into EVM, Ethereum, Layer 2s, as well as Arbitrum, summing to Solana. We're definitely seeing the top coins starting to move. This should be another reason why we should be more optimistic, while at the same time, there is lots of stuff going on from institutions. Now, I talked yesterday about the fact that institutions were buying the dip, and actually we weren't seeing selling. Now, fast forward 24 hours when people start to panic and that trade deal doesn't quite play out, we actually are seeing some of these ETFs sell off. You can see here a number of those actually moving in the last 24 hours. Biggest, Fidelity dropping about 1,482 Bitcoin. These are just moving depending on the markets and depending on where investors want to go. We just said people are FOMOing into the S&P 500. Well, they're going to be coming out of risk assets that's capitulating. Bear in mind, Bitcoin dropping anything between 2 and 2.5% over the last 24 hours. That's why people are getting out and going into the S&P 500. But in my opinion, this is where it's going to change. People will re-risk. Whether retail is going to come back in and what we saw in 2017, 2021, that is left to be seen. But when you think about it, unrealized loss is still low. We haven't seen the spike in terms of days at a loss. We also know that QE is happening. It's coming in December, as well as further potential rate cuts. Yes, I know Jerome Powell said that they might not be on the cards, but we also know the government shutdown is probably likely to end in December. These are all absolute catalysts that, in my opinion, are going to push the markets, but it is going to be a rocky ride to get there. We're going to see volatility, and we're probably going to see further liquidations like we've seen today, another $1 billion. People want to buy the dip. They want to get in the bottom because they believe, as I do, there is more upside to come. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. If you want to become a channel member, getting into that Discord, getting the alpha early, then grab a channel membership. Dead easy. Click the join button. You're in there. It's about $8 a month. Highly worth it. Right, until next time, thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.